I'd like to share with you some advice if you want to interview well with high-performing companies. Going into job interviews, there's only two things that will significantly impact the outcome of your job interview. The first one is the story bank, and the second one is the role play. These are the only two things which significantly improve your chances to have a favorable outcome. Or let me put it another way, there are some other activities which are less interesting and less efficient. Specifically, researching into how the company screening process or the company interviewing process works is not something that correlates well with great interview outcomes. Similarly, trying to fit into a company's cultural values or leadership principles is again not something that's extremely efficient when it comes to significantly improving your chances to pass interviews with activities, such as preparing your story bank and a role play. And maybe another one, impression-based hiring, that to have the best possible elevator pitch is at best efficient to pass a screening round, but will rarely correlate with a favorable interview outcome. The next thing I like to talk about here is with respect to trends. Every few years, there's a major new trend in HR and in job interviews. For example, back in the 2020s, there was a new trend of company interview questions being predictable or becoming predictable. You would look on Glassdoor, you would predict the types of questions, and basically everyone assumed that if you know the questions in advance, you'd be able to quickly pass your job interview. Similarly, these days, there's the AI trend, which in my experience, as any trend in HR and in job interviews, 95% of candidates will try to exploit these trends, try to cheat their way through these job interviews. These things rarely work, and there's only niche scenarios where these trends play to your advantage. For example, for the AI trend, you could use it to predict the types of questions you'd want to role play for an upcoming job interview. You could also use it to spell check your CV, but only expect limited benefits when it comes to correlating using AI to pass interviews with high-performing companies. Next thing I like to talk about here is during job interviews. Assuming you took the interview seriously and you did well on your story bank and role play, the other 50% of your job interview is your listening skills. It still pays off well if you can read your interviewer. Because what happens most of the time in these job interviews, the interviewers will try to help you to determine, hey, is this a high-performing candidate? Furthermore, they will try to help you to course correct if you go in the wrong direction, or they will run a backbone test on you during these job interviews. So being able to read the room and having great listening skills is something that pays off greatly even today. And even though this is old interviewing advice, it's still highly efficient and I highly recommend it. Or another way to put it would be try to avoid distractions in job interviews, such as your cheat sheet or trying to read your answers from a computer screen, because it pays a lot better if you focus on your interviewer and see what they think, what they really think about your interview answers. Next thing I'll talk about here is a major misconception in these job interviews is, for example, if you commit a crime and you go on trial for something, there's the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until proved guilty during a formal trial process. In a job interview, it's the reverse. You're presumed not to be a high performer until you earn their trust. And this is a huge misconception with most candidates because most candidates assume that they are special during these job interviews, when in fact, the interviewer is trying to get a handle to understand and is looking for candidates who are doing their best to convince the interviewer that they're the best person for the job. The only notable exception is when there's an exceptional fit for the role, when you know during the screening process that they really want you for the job, but these are isolated scenarios. So my advice to you would be in job interviews to genuinely try to assume that, hey, you're not the best candidate. You are doing your best to sell yourself as the best candidate for the occasion and not vice versa, right? And maybe another one here is with respect to advancing throughout your career. What I found over time is that, especially for candidates in mid and senior level roles who are stuck in their career or who cannot pass interviews, a major element of their success is their coachability. So are you coachable? Can you listen? Can you follow someone else's advice? And I found that over time, the moment people realize that, hey, I must become more coachable, this is also when you significantly improve your outcomes and you improve things such as your interviewing skills, right? So I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.